There are times when you watch somebody start off a speech and within about 30 seconds, you already know that they've lost. And so why is that? It isn't because they didn't know all the facts, that they hadn't done their research. It's just that they didn't know how to architect their foundation. In the world of public forum debate, those first 4 minutes, what we call the constructive speech, is the only time that you get to be 100% in control in advance of what you are going to say. The rest of the round, it can be wild. It can be a roller coaster. But these first 4 minutes, this is your foundation. And if your foundation is cracked, the whole building is going to collapse. Today, we're going to learn how to build an unbreakable case. We will break down the anatomy of a perfect public forum speech. We'll explore the anatomy of the structure, the introduction, the content, and the conclusion, the strategy of word crafting, how to design your definitions and observations to trap your opponents before they even know what hit them. And finally, the art of delivery, the exact word count and vocal mechanics required to make a judge enjoy listening to you. By the end of this video, you won't just be reading a script, you'll be conducting an orchestra. So let's take a closer look. Let's talk about the introduction. Every great speech starts with an introduction. Think of your introduction like framing a painting. If the frame is crooked, nobody's looking at the painting. Ideally, for a public forum introduction, you're looking for about 30 to 45 seconds. But that introduction does some massive heavy lifting. First, you need to frame the round. So debaters often enjoy using a powerful rhetorical quotation from a recognized source. It could be a fact, a statistic, a rhetorical question, something to hook the listeners in. Next, you should state your position. Which side of the motion are you on? Let's take a look at the motion. The benefits of generative AI in education outweigh the harms. You could say something like, my partner and I are on the pro side, and we affirm the motion that generative AI in education outweigh the harms. Now onto the secret sauce, definitions and observations, and framing. You must, in fact, define the key terms, not just for clarity, but also for strategy. Imagine you're debating the motion single-use plastics should be banned. If you were to define the word ban with immediate effect and total criminalization, you're going to make it harder for yourself to be pro in this case. Whereas if you have a more reasonable definition, perhaps phasing in the ban, and perhaps even omitting certain sectors such as medical, then this creates a more even playing field for you to debate in. So the definition is often about strategy and not just clarity. Furthermore, you can couple this with an observation, which is a rule that explicitly states the burden of the round. You can tell the judge something along the lines of, in order to win this round, the negative must prove that single-use plastics are absolutely irreplaceable, not just convenient. And boom, you've just redrawn the battlefield in your favor. Let's look at contentions and subpoints. Once your introduction is set, you move on to your contentions. To go with a building metaphor, these are the main pillars which are holding on your roof. They are the independent reasons why your side is right. Rule number 1. Keep it to 2 or 3 contentions max. If you have 4 or 6 points, you aren't giving depth. You're just throwing spaghetti at the wall. And the judge's brain is likely to just short circuit trying to remember them all. Each contention needs to be a self-contained unit. It needs a short, punchy tagline and a good quantity of persuasive data from valid sources. Some of the best cases will incorporate several pieces of data in each contention just as part of the rhetoric. Another thing you can do in order to stay organized is to use subpoints. Let's go back to our AI in education debate. Contention 1 might be something like, affirming the resolution drastically reduces educational equality. And then you might break that contention down into subpoint A and subpoint B. Subpoint A might be AI provides personalized tutoring for low-income students. And subpoint B could be AI automates grading, giving teachers more one-on-one time with struggling students. And now you can see how subpoint A and subpoint B follow directly onto contention number 1. You see how simple that is? The subpoints, they just build onto each other. And the best thing of all is that it gives the judge a really clear map of what's going on. And of course, that's how you enable the judge to select your team as the winner. Now, finally, your conclusion. So keep it short and sweet. Maybe 10 to 20 seconds to wrap up, summarize your main points, link back to your opening statement, sit down, done. But what if you want to play at master level? Advanced debaters can use a flex case. So what is that? Imagine your team a second to speak. A flex case means that you've prepared more contentions than you need for your 4 minutes. So maybe you prepared 5, you may have prepared 6 contentions. You sit there and you listen to exactly which arguments your opponents bring up, and then, like a magician picking the perfect card, you select the contentions which directly clash with or completely destroy their points. Now, this requires deep research and supreme confidence, but it's lethal. Let's talk now about the actual performance. So you may be somebody that can write the greatest essay in the world, but a debate case is not read by a reader. It's heard by an audience who only get one shot at hearing it and understanding it. A solid word count for a 4-minute speech is between 725 and 775 words. And that means that you'll be speaking at roughly 187 words per minute. So that's slightly faster than normal conversation, which is perfectly fine if your structure is clean. Here's a pro tip for writing your script. Bold the words that you want to emphasize with power and italicize the names of your data sources. This way, you'll be able to glance at them, state them, and keep up the rhythmic flow of your speech, but without sounding robotic. And when you stand up to deliver those first few words of your script, of your speech, speak slowly. Why? Because the judge's ears, they need a moment to calibrate to the unique pitch, tone, and accent of your voice. So do give them a moment for that. To make sure you can hit the ground running on your next round, let's distill this into a simple framework just to give you total clarity at a glance. Let's call it the 3 C's of a champion constructive speech. The first C is chronology, the second is context, and the third is cadence. Chronology is the structure of your speech. You should keep it concise, exclude any information that's not necessary, of course, and keep it packed with relevant, useful information. A 30 to 45 second intro, 2 to 3 self-contained contentions or sub-contentions, and then a 10 to 20 second conclusion. Second, we've got context. Now, this is your strategy. Frame the round with strategic definitions that give you a fair division of ground while keeping you in the driver's seat. Also, you might want to think about frameworks. So you may argue that you are going to use the utilitarian ethical framework for this debate. And finally, cadence. This is your delivery. You want to be aiming for about 725 to 775 words. You can bold words for emphasis, use italics for things that you want to refer to quickly. Start slowly and allow the judge to tune in to the way you speak. And also consider using rhetoric. So this would be things like anaphora, epistrophe, antithesis, and so on, in order to make your speech delivery flawless and enjoyable to hear. Debate rounds are very rarely won in the first 4 minutes, but they can absolutely be lost there. Master the script, master your delivery, and you command the room. So go out there, practice with a timer, and construct something brilliant.